Hey, table family. It's Monday. It's Yolanda. That means it's time for another episode of Everybody at the Table. I'm talking to you from the booming metropolis of Chicago, Illinois, my hometown, the greatest city in the world. The reason I mention that is because this sound may be a little different because I'm not at home with my equipment. I am here on family business, visiting a new life brought into our family. With that, the conversation still has to happen. And so here we are. This week, I want to revisit a topic that I talked about last year, which was the Target boycott. I think it was probably one of my maybe 7th or 8th episodes when the boycott started. And one of the episodes was around why I personally was not boycotting Target with my reasons. And so there's been an update to the boycott in general. And I thought I'd take the time to update you on where I am with the decisions I made in response to the boycott. For those who may not know, I decided not to boycott Target, and there are reasons why that I'll get to later in the podcast. Before you shut me off and don't listen, there's an aim to my crazy. Dr. Jamal Bryant held a press conference last week and declared the boycott was over. And he wasn't alone. Standing with him were Nina Turner and Tamika Mallory. The three of them publicly shared that based on conversations and commitments that apparently they had with Target, they believed it was time to end the boycott. And boy, did that set off a reaction and a firestorm on social media. Many people declared that the boycott for them was not temporary. It wasn't a pause, that it was a full breakup with Target, that they were never returning. People had decided they were never going back. And when the announcement came that the boycott was over, many were surprised and blindsided because it did seem to come out of nowhere. Almost immediately, Dr. Bryant and others were dragged through the internet streets. And if you were around, if you were involved in the conversation, you saw it. People assumed that there had been a deal, that there had been some money paid to particularly Dr. Bryant, and others said the goals had not been met, and many argued that nothing meaningful had changed with Target. Of them were the voices and what we know to be the original creators of the boycott of Nikema Levy-Armstrong and Monique Cutters-Doherty out of Minnesota. They're Minnesota activists who had been dealing with some challenges with Target just in their community because that's where Target is headquartered. And they had been calling for a public boycott of Target and claimed that as the originators of the boycott, they never said it was over, and they did not appreciate others taking the liberties to end, quote unquote, the boycott. The community agreed with that, and they agreed that there's still more work to do. So now we have these two competing narratives, one group saying the boycott has achieved its goals, and then another saying that the boycott is still necessary. And that's what made the conversation so interesting to me because, again, I am not boycotting Target. And I was very vocal about that. And my reasons came down to three things: access, community economics, and the strategic disruption. First, access. It's important to me that my community has competition when it comes to purchasing goods and services. For Target, in many communities, it's more than a retailer. It's clean, it's organized, it has pharmacy access, groceries, clothing, household goods, Starbucks, Ulta, all of this under one roof. And that's important to me because I live 30 miles outside of Atlanta. And there are people in my community, while I have the privilege of a car and can drive to other places, there are people in my community who do not have transportation access. Some people just can't go somewhere else. So when we talk about boycotting a store like Target, we also have to think about who relies on that access. And I don't want to leave my community left with what, Walmart? If Target leaves, my community gets Five Below, the dollar store, other goods and services that certainly are exploitative and don't bring the same level of quality that Target does. So for me, competition matters. Second was community economics. My local Target employs largely Black people, from the management staff to the workers. It's also an anchor store. And anchor stores create foot traffic that support smaller businesses. I found my Black woman-owned esthetician by going to the Target Plaza. There is a party store, Party City closed. There's a party store in my community that is owned by Black people that's connected next to Target. Would I have known it and seen it if Target wasn't there? I don't know, but I surely know that I saw it because I was heading to Target and it was in that vicinity. And that's how these strategic structures work. There are small businesses that benefit from that visibility. So removing an anchor store doesn't just impact corporate headquarters, it impacts workers, it impacts surrounding businesses, it impacts local economies, and that matters to me. But the third reason, and the most important reason why I didn't boycott Target, is because I believe the disruption for us is bigger than just Target. Target is one store in the stream. In my opinion, we have a more powerful way of boycotting and showing our economic power by disrupting industries, not just a store. And for me, that industry is the synthetic hair industry. Now, hear me out. Right now, there's a conversation going on, particularly on TikTok, about loving natural hair. Some people feel judged. Some people feel empowered. I'm not here to tell anybody how to wear their hair or what you want to do with your hair. But what I am saying is the synthetic hair industry is heavily funded by Black women and largely owned by Koreans, Chinese, and other white or European businesses with very little investment back into the Black community. They own the manufacturing, they own the logistics, they own the distribution, they own the retail. And yet we are the primary consumers of a $6 to $7 billion industry. And not one of them have ever publicly committed to supporting a Black woman and getting their foot in the door in that industry. So I had to ask myself, if we're going to disrupt something, where's the strongest leverage? And for me, that answer is our hair. Every one of us owns a head of hair. Every one of us decides where we spend our money. So I decided to lock my hair. It was something I had been thinking about for years. My sisters had done it, and I knew this was the time for me to do it. And though the journey has not been easy, I'm not going to say it's been easy, I have enjoyed the journey. What I've loved most about it, number one, is every dollar I have spent on my hair in the last year has gone directly into the hands of a Black woman. Directly. Over the last 10 months, I have spent well over $2,500 on my hair. And every dollar of that has gone into the hands of a Black woman. I don't think I have spent $100 at a beauty supply store in the last year because I don't need it. I locked my hair. And I get all my supplies and oils and all those things from my loctician. Or I go to my Black stylist who manipulates my hair or does what she needs to do with it. And it takes the ability for me to be comfortable in my own skin and not have to subscribe to a European version of beauty, to accept the beauty of who I am as I show up. And beyond the money, there's community. So going to get your hair done, if you remember what it was like to go get your hair done, you're in conversation, you're in laughter. We may have a glass of wine. We're watching the Housewives. We're sharing our lives. And it's just vibing with another sister. And that matters to me. I'm not telling you to lock your hair. And I'm not telling you what to do with your hair. But I am asking this question. If we're serious about economic disruption, what is the one shot that actually redirects money into our community? Because when it comes to groceries, we don't own those stores. When it comes to retail, we don't control those supply chains. When it comes to household goods, we don't have alternatives. But hair, we all make that decision. So that's my update on the Target boycott. I thought the reaction was interesting, and I wanted to expand the conversation beyond one store to something bigger, strategy around economics and community. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Are you going back to Target? And what industry do you think we can disrupt? Do you agree that the hair industry is an easy disruptor? I would love to have that conversation with you. Let's talk about it in the comments. All right. As always, I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you sharing and giving your thoughts and expanding the ideas on how we create access for all. Until next time, Take care and dine well.